Seaside Band. Welcome, everybody. Isn't it exciting to be back indoors? I want to thank you, everybody, that you're honoring, the distancing and just being respectful, and we're just so excited to be here together once again. Yes. Well, it is my honor to be able to get us anchored in this morning a little bit, so I'm going to sing a song for you and hopefully get us ready. Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one. Breathe in, let the power of love fulfill you. Breathe out, let the troubles of life be gone. Release all the worries you have for tomorrow. Look within, let's begin as one.
Ooh, beautiful. Rebecca, there's people in here.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Woo! Oh, how fun. Yeah, standing up. That is truly, it is amazing. It is just a statement to vision, to belief, to planting seeds of possibilities. March 15th was the last time we got together for an 11 o'clock service.
That feels like forever ago.
Yeah, like 8 months. I've been counting. It takes two hands. Wow. But you know what? Your community has kept going. We have continued to deliver online. And it has truly been, we have felt your love, we have felt your support, we've received your emails, we have received your contributions. People have lit candles and put them in their windows, and here we are.
Here we are.
Woo!
So awesome.
Yeah. And what a week, oh my goodness, as if there isn't enough stuff whirling. When an election, we're sitting there, it doesn't matter what side you're pulling for, it's a nail biter to the end.
Yep.
And as all the new elects have said, that now it's a time for unity. It's
right.
time for coming together as one nation. Mm-hmm. It is a time for healing.
Yes.
We're in this together.
That's right.
And so we know that's the direction this country is moving. And I mean, that's our philosophy, is the wholeness, is the oneness. It is being unified for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Been gigging at all?
Been getting a little more work lately, which I'm very grateful for. As we all, some of us know, the singers, our industry was hit pretty bad because, there are no restaurants were able to perform, no touring. So that hasn't happened still, but now restaurants are starting to open up. So I've been doing a lot more little gigs around town. I'm very grateful. And just to plug, I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 fundraising events I'm doing this coming weekend. They're all online. Friday night is an event called Songs for Shelter. It's about helping to get teens off the streets. So myself and my band, Rebecca J. and the Cold Factor, are one of about 4 acts performing, and it's for free. You can tune in on songsforshelter.com. And then that's Friday night. And on Saturday morning, I'm doing an event that's called Be About It, and it's 7 artists that are connected with 7 different nonprofit organizations here in San Diego. So
nice. And what's your organization?
My organization is called Muslim Community Services of San Diego. So
well,
it's just wonderful.
Seaside will be happy to make contribution to them, as well as getting the children off the streets.
Appreciate that.
And ask anybody who's part of our spiritual community, if you have a local charity that you would like Seaside to make a gift to, just give us a letter, and we're always looking for ways to support Spirit's work in the community. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's what I love about Seaside.
Hey, I got a quick letter here. I'll read you.
Okay.
You know, Sonny and Mike, who have been on our doors at the second service forever, Mike wrote this letter this morning. He says, thank you guys for the invitation to be here. Sonny and I will be joining you live stream, as well as probably 1,000 other people. So you're not alone. We know you're there because we've been hearing. But our hearts are going to be with all of you and our Seaside family in these Sunday gatherings. I want you to know how much we appreciate the amount of thought and effort it took to bring this event to fruition. For our pledge continues, and we know that we will be joining you soon in person. Your efforts to provide a safe space for us to share our hopes and prayers together deserves our heartfelt thanks. That's what we've been doing. And a lot of effort's been going on. You know, we upgrade the filters. We keep our doors open. So if you're cold, bring coats, keep them. We've got you safe distance, wearing masks that are out there. We're doing a lot to just honor the safety and the protocol. So we're doing what it takes. But I'll tell you what, it's also Wednesday. You know what Wednesday is?
What is it?
Well, you know.
I do know, sorry.
What?
Well, I believe it's Veterans Day.
It is, you're right. That's a good belief. That's right. My
Yeah.
son knows because he gets off school that day.
Oh.
He's one of the few that gets to go. But anyway, it's a day that my heart goes out for those individuals who said, count me in with everything I've got, including my life. And so if we have any veterans here today, I'd like to invite you to stand so we could just love you up and say, just thank you for your service. Your presence, your gifts have supported, our democracy. It has allowed all of us to have a voice that counts. And so just thank you. Once a year, at least this nation can do. We stop at 11:11 and just remember. So, but I'll tell you what we're going to remember is spirit, because that's what we always do first here. So I want to invite the Dr. Christina Tillison up to just take us to a little deeper place here this morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Do you like my kitty mask? Wow, this is amazing to see everybody. And hi, everybody out in cyberspace. Dr. Christian's talking about awakening to the limitless today. And so to talk about the abundance of the universe, this is from the Essential Ernest Holmes class that I have the honor of teaching online for Seaside. And this was written by Reverend Dr. Jesse Jennings. Because of the underlying unity of all life, no man lives entirely unto himself, but rather is part of the infinite flow of the whole. The way to happiness lies in consciously choosing to be part of the divine flow of life. This includes being willing to share our lives, our time, our talents, and our money with others, because in truth, it is not ours. It's only passing through our being as part of the infinite life. So I'm going to light the candle, which will symbolize that light that goes out into the world from here. Then I'm going to gong the gong 3 times, and we're going to into the stillness to allow that presence of light and love of spirit to be revealed right here and right now. And then I'm going to do a short little invocation. So turning within, I acknowledge that limitlessness of the infinite that's through and as all of its creation. There's no place where that one of opulence, of wisdom, of light and love is not, and that is here and right now through each one here in this amazing sanctuary and coming in from cyberspace, that infinite limitlessness of spirit is revealed right here and right now in this sacred place together. And so I'm knowing for this sacred time together that limitlessness of the universe not only is embodied by each one here, but is flowing out into this country, into this world, into this universe, allowing that limitlessness to be embodied by all. And for this I'm so, so grateful as I release this word, knowing it is now done in perfect limitlessness of spirit. And so it is. Amen.
So much pain and no good reason why. You cried until the tears run dry. Nothing here can make you understand. The one thing that you held so dear is slipping from your hands. And you say, why does it go this way? And why? And all I can say is somewhere down the road there'll be an answer to the questions. Somewhere down the road, though you cannot see it now. Somewhere down the road you will find mighty arms reaching for you, and they will have the answers at the end of the road. Yesterday I thought I'd seen it all. I thought I climbed the highest wall. But now I see the learning never ends. And all I know to do is keep on walking around the bend, singing, why does it go this way? And why? And all I can say is somewhere down the road there'll be an answer to the questions. Somewhere down the road, though you cannot see it now. Somewhere down the road you will find mighty arms reaching for you, and they will have the answers at the end of the road. At the end of the why does it go this way? And why? And all I can say, somewhere the end of the road. At the end of the
That is Cassie B, Somewhere Down the Road. Cassie's our first time here with us. We're so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it is so good to see all of you out there. Wow. Wow, I'm Reverend Debbie McDonnell. It's my joy to be here with you today. We are in our 6-week pledge program. Some of you may know what that is, some of you may not. Our theme is a moment of choice. Dr. Christian asked if I would share a testimonial. We're going to have a few testimonials today, but I'm going to share with you one that happened to me most recently. In 2017, many of you know, I left a Seaside. I was an assistant minister here, or a staff minister here, and I left to take a letter of call as senior minister in Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. And I was there, and that very first year, 2017, Dr. Christian was going to Big Sky, Montana retreat, which is a lovely retreat if you've never been to it, and he was doing his Living from the Mountaintop Mysticism workshop, and I thought it'd be a lovely time to visit Montana and to see Dr. Christian. My friend, Reverend Jill Clements, and I, we decided to go up there, and while we were there, one of the keynote speakers, along with Dr. Christian, was Mary Mannon Morrissey. And Mary Morrissey, many of you know, is a long-time Science of Mind minister. She's had big churches and had all sorts of things happen in her life. But by the end of that workshop, I decided that I was going to step up to spend a year being coached by Mary Morrissey, by Reverend Mary. And I put down a year's salary to do so. It was an entire year's salary that I was making in Monterey, and I was stepping out in faith. And I shared with my congregation at the time, and I share with you, that I was at that place in my ministry that if I was going to get up and share every Sunday these spiritual principles, I wanted to demonstrate them in my life. I was going to prove these principles if I was going to talk about them, because I certainly wasn't going to share with you something that I didn't know really, really, really worked, you know? And I was wanting to manifest it a larger way that I had ever had. So at the end of my 3 years there in Monterey, it became very clear to me after doing the work that I was doing that it was time for me to leave Monterey, that wasn't my place to be. It was where I was for those 3 years, and that I wanted to come home and be closer to my family. All my brothers and sisters and everybody is here in Southern California. Southern California girl my whole life, raised here. And so I made the plans to move home. And unbeknownst to me, just like Cassie's song, you know, I had no idea why I was doing what I was doing. I was following Spirit's call. And when I started to make the plans to move here, right before I got here, my stepfather passed. And so my mom became a widow. Shortly after that, a few months later, my 29-year-old nephew and his girlfriend were killed in a car accident. Few months after that, my brother-in-law went to work one morning, 52 years old. He has a 16-year-old and an 18-year-old, and he died of a heart attack. So what a blessing that I was here and able to be with my family during that time. My intention was to take 6 months sabbatical. And I was 2 months into it. One weekend, I decided I was going to go up to Idlewild and just be up in the mountains, yes. And I received a phone call from Dr. Christian Sorensen saying that there was a need here at Seaside, and would I consider coming on as interim assistant? And I said no. I had plans. You know, I was going to create my own ministry. I had a vision of what I was going to do. And he said, well, what would it take for you to say yes? You know? And after talking with him, I said yes. You know, I would come and do it, but it was only temporary. And I came here in April or in November. In April, I was offered a letter of call by your board of trustees, and I accepted the letter of call, and I'm here. You know, Spirit had my back the whole time. Trusting, saying yes. I'm in the perfect place. I'm with the perfect people for the perfect time. I had no idea COVID was coming. I had no idea that trying to open a ministry during this time would have not been easy to do. You know, Spirit had my back, and that's just the way that these spiritual principles work. It's amazing when we prove them in our life, when we demonstrate them in our life, when we see what shows up when we just say yes, God. So that is what our pledge program is about. It's about saying yes to God. It's about saying yes to giving out to the world and having it come back to you tenfold. It's certainly not the reason we do it, but it is one of the laws. It's the law of reciprocity, and it's how it works. So you probably received in the mail our newsletter. If you didn't, that means we don't have your address, and we'd love to have it. Beautiful newsletter with all kinds of information. It had some seeds in there for you to plant, seeds for your new beginnings. It has a pledge card. It has some information about tithing. But what I want to talk about is I want to talk a little bit about our pledge card. Seaside's budget is $900,000 a year, a little bit more than that. Really, $1 million, it would be a really good number to reach for, $1 million, because we have programs and things we want to do that we don't always have the funds to do it. But $900,000 breaks down to just a little over $17,000 a week. Now, our mortgage is $17,000 a month, the mortgage on this property, on both of our properties. And we only owe $2.3 million on that. So we know that that's the price of a home here in Encinitas. So we're knowing that that's being paid off. But the numbers are up there. And what we do with our pledge program is we ask for your estimate of giving for the coming year. And now it's just an estimate. It's not written in stone. It's not written in concrete. It can be changed. But what we'd like to do is to get an estimate of what you think you might be able to give through the coming year so your board of trustees can create our budget for next year. And so we look at those numbers, we look at what comes in, and many of you know, like Rebecca J. losing her gigs for the year, and many of our band members, Seaside lost income by not being able to do our rentals. Our rentals are a big piece of our income, over $100,000 of our budget. We have special events like the Von Prague event, and those events we haven't been able to do. We haven't been able to do our Gourmets for God. We haven't even been able to host our 12-step groups. And classes are different. Classes are online and they're going, but they're not at the level that we normally have classes. And we've made budget cuts. We had to let some of our staff go this last year, to adjust for what's happening in the world. But, we're knowing that we're back and we're growing and we're coming. So as you fill out your pledge card, I invite you to keep all of that in mind. The $17,000 a month breaks down to 325 people a Sunday giving $54. So, and we know that some people cannot give at that level, and we don't expect you to. Anything you can give is so, so appreciated. And we know that there are those that give much more than that. So I ask you to search your heart when Dr. Christian invites you to fill out your pledge card today, and we'll drop it in the baskets on our way out, as well as our regular giving. One thing I do just want to point out, and then I will get off the stage because Dr. Christian's probably wanting to speak, that thing he does. We have the pledge card here, and some of you have filled it out and some of you haven't. One of the things that has saved us, that has absolutely saved us this year, is our auto tithers. So on the back of the card, on the front you can put on your intention. On the back of the card, if you'd like to be an auto tither, please fill that out very clearly so our bookkeeper, Becky, can input it without calling you. Please print it, and if you'd like to just have a regular systematic giving coming out of your bank draft or your credit card, we absolutely appreciate that. And one last thing before I get off of this stage. This year, Breeze, which is our online giving program software company, has added an option for you to be able to pay the fees. So Seaside doesn't get hit with the fees. Our credit card fees and our Breeze fees and all of our fees together come to about $10,000 a year. So anyone that's able to pick up a little bit of the fees themselves, greatly appreciated. So that's what I have to share about here, but I have a testimonial for you from one of our beautiful members, Norm Estabrook. He was
Hi,
here
Norm
first
Estabrook
service,
here.
but here's Norm.
I'm going to tell you a little story about abundance. I'm in my foundations class with Dr. Christian, and we had just studied abundance, and I was sitting there reading about this and thinking about it, and it occurred to me suddenly that I had not gotten my tax return. So I had filed my returns last May, and it was now almost November. So I called my tax lady and asked what was going on. And it had been quite a bit of time, and I couldn't remember how much it was. I knew I was getting something. And she suggested that I check my bank account, that in fact it should have been there by now. So I did. And lo and behold, less than a week before, I had gotten this ginormous tax return, a total shock. So thinking of my dear departed wife, who was my mentor, my practitioner, and introduced me to this teaching, who always said, Norm, we always tithe on unexpected income, and we say, thank you, God. So I immediately sat down and wrote a tithe to Seaside, and I said, thank you, God, and sent it off, and so it is.
I love it. Those are wonderful, wonderful testimonials. All right, well, it is my honor. We already had the beautiful pleasure of hearing her sing for us and help keep us anchored in, and it gives me this opportunity to introduce her now. She's just a beautiful soul. We're relatively new friends, and we've been in each other's circle, though we both know a lot of the same singers around town. And I asked, actually, Lauren Lee, who was here a couple weeks ago, I said, would Cassie B be great here? She said, oh my God, yes. So I got her, and we have her here today, and I'm just so grateful that she's here blessing us with her beautiful voice. She has her own original project as well, so you can follow her under Cassie B Project. And also, she's a hairstylist on top of that. So if anybody needs to get their hair touched up, go see Cassie B. Call her. So without further ado, please help me welcome Cassie B.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just beginning, pens in my hand, ending a plan, staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibition, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Touch yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten. Sometimes my tries are outside the line. Yeah, we've been conditioned to not make mistakes, but I can't live that way, no. Staring at the blank page before you, open up the dirty window, let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibition, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Touch yourself in words unspoken, live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Judge yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Hey. Oh, yeah. Staring at the blank page before you. Open up the dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you cannot find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Get yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Get yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. The rest is still unwritten.
That is Cassie B. picking out a wonderful song. Cassie, where you been all of Seaside's life? My goodness, it's about time you found us. Welcome to Seaside. And band, you're fabulous. You've been here week after week since the 15th. And of course, our own Rebecca J., San Diego's best singer of the year, just leading us through this whole time. Been here week after week. Thank you for your commitment and your love. And just looking out at all of you is just, I can't even tell you what it was like that first Sunday when this place was empty. And then to be dancing for the first time in 8 months in our sanctuary is amazing. Woo! And through it all, we have kept the lights and the candles going, the heartbeat going, and there's amazing stories of healing through this time, sitting in the sanctuary right now. Amazing journeys of cancer dissolving and relationships getting stronger. It's just, Seaside has continued to do its work. The practitioners have continued to do their work. Your board of trustees was courageous in making the decision to open this sanctuary up for the 11 o'clock service. You know, we sit here and going, yeah, but you know how much thought and processing and safety conversations and protocol groups that were going on to make this moment happen. And what I know is the book is, what's next is unwritten, as Cassie B was singing. What is next is still unfolding. Ever greater good is going on. And so this morning's message is part of this 6-week series that is being inspired by the book, Our Moment of Choice. And this particular week is coming from the third circle, but it's about the social enterprises that are going on. And this morning in particular is about abundance. You know, it's about awakening to your limitlessness. And Seaside stands as a testimony to that, because as I stand here and pledge Sunday, it's an opportunity to go back to the beginning, to the genesis of our community. And there was a handful of people in 1988 that got together in the basement of the Cardiff Church on Birmingham. You're familiar with that place? And they started this new center called the Seaside Center. Actually, it was called San Diego Church of Religious Science is what it was called at that point. And but in 91, I came to this town, and I had just left Hawaii, and many of you know the story. I'm out there looking for a cathedral at that point in my career. I'd been out there 10 years. Let me have, you know, a stadium. And I sat and I spoke at this place on Cedros, which was not yet the design district or the art center. It was just Cedros, and I was upstairs, and there were maybe 25 people that was there. And I wasn't ready to put my foot in, but I had left Hawaii. This building we occupied when we took it over. We wrote above the door, "Catch the Spirit." And the week after I left, the place burned to the ground. And all that was left, and we had a kahuna bless the place when we came in, was the sign, "Catch the Spirit." So here I am sitting in this little room on Solana Beach, saying, "God, give me a sign, give me a sign." And I pick my eyes up, and they have a banner hanging above their door, the sliding glass door, looking west to the beach, saying, "Catch the Spirit." I'm saying, "God, I hear you." I got it. You know, there's something that was speaking here, and it has continued to speak, and Seaside has been continued to be Spirit-led. When we found this place in 98, it was in a bankruptcy court. It took 25 grand just to get into the courtroom to make bids. We had to borrow that money because we could barely pay our rent when we were over there on 2nd Street. And but the people spoke. The voices of our community said, let's go for that. So we went into this courtroom. We lined the back wall with spiritual practitioners who were praying, and then we started bidding. And what was fun about the bidding is we had no money. So it didn't matter what we bid, you know. Yeah, sure, we'll beat that. Sure, yes, Your Honor, how much would it take to beat that? So eventually down came the gavel, and we got the place. And he said, you got 30 days to make good on that, or you lose your 25 grand, and another 30 days to actually come up with the money. And then we came to discover we just, bought this acreage for about twice as much as it was appraising for, and nobody would touch us. And the story unfolds that is amazing. I'm not going to get into it, but a local bank guy wanted to help us out and just lend us all that was needed to get into the place. We're excited. We jump in, and now the city won't change the zoning. We spent 18 months going back and forth with the city. We could barely pay rent. Now we got a more than $1 million mortgage. It was crazy. But somehow, and this is the legacy of Seaside, which is the legacy of you, because what Seaside is people that are able to believe in a vision, that have a deep sense of that there is something greater than what is physically going on. Yes, what's going on is information, but you know what? The foundation of this community, we got hold of this place, they changed the zoning, and we had the ground wasn't even acceptable. It was asphalt. We had to tear the asphalt out. All that was left were the beams going across this building. The siding was gone. The walls were gone. But I will tell you what, when we laid the foundation, we did so with prayer. When we laid the cornerstone of this building, we did so with spirit. When we put the beams on these walls, all these beams carry the affirmation of the people that were part of this family at that time, saying, this is God's house. Healing happens here. Love is spoken here. Caring. This place remains open and welcoming, kind. The floor you're standing on, we sold squares and chairs for $100. We had to sell 500 of those. You want to know why we don't have new chairs and carpets? Because that's $50,000. But each square has the people's affirmation on it. So what I want you to know, this is consecrated holy ground upon which you sit and you stand. In the 127th Psalm, it says, unless the Lord build the house, they build it in vain. This house has been built by the Lord. This house has been built by the presence of God for healing to go on, for love to go on, for forgiveness to go on, for transformation to go on. It is the very cornerstone and foundation upon which we stand in this community. Seaside has been built to last forever. Yes. That means we have journeyed through recessions, real estate collapses, and a pandemic, because our doors are now open and we have come through to the other side because of the heart and the soul and the belief that is going on, that there is a light, there is something that is greater than the prevailing concerns and fears. When we start doing the foundation class and we start talking spirit, we go back, everybody believes that there's something more than who they are. I don't believe in God. Yeah, but when your football team's playing, are you praying to somebody for your team to win? Or did you pull off the freeway and stop by somebody's house and you found them, they fell on the floor, hit their head if you didn't show up there? Or, you watched, your kid jumping off on his bike off a big jump and say, oh my God, you knock on wood? You know, that it's like even people who don't believe tend to believe that there's something else. The blue and white or red lights go on in your rearview mirror behind you. Oh my God, you know, oh my, whatever comes after that, right? You know, everybody tends to believe that there's something a little bit more. And I do that to establish that we've been taught that the truth is our five senses. Now, I don't want to be ingrateful to my awesome five senses of sight and smell and my tongue and my ears and my skin that feels. But I want you to get, they're limited. I know they're limited. Because I had a dog, Sage, and if I opened up some like meat package downstairs, he could be sleeping upstairs and he could smell it from the other end of the house, and he would be down there before it was fully opened. You know, wow is right. You know, or the dolphins. I learned this word from Trevor's Dr. Seuss book. They have echolocation. It's their type of sonar that they communicate. So they could be sitting right out there beyond the waves, looking at us humans, wading up to our chest, laughing at us and saying, aren't those guys so silly? They're just coming up to their waist and complaining it's cold and wet. They could be making fun in our face and we couldn't even hear them. I know that there's more than our senses get. You know, we just got it comes from a motion cam, a camera that catches the motion from our neighbors in Montana. They've got the driveway next to our place, and they took a picture just this week of 4 mountain lions walking across their property towards our house. And their eyes in the light, you know, cats have these bionic eyes that can see in the darkness that are incredible. I would not want to run an obstacle course with one of those at night and trying to win. You know, it's like there is more than what our senses give us. And so when we come to recognize that science is now telling us that it's all energy, right? You got, you know, the light energy in which we receive, the sound waves, you know, it's all this energetic. And as we begin to change the frequency, as we begin to change, we begin to recognize that there's a possibility to awaken to a limitlessness that is just abundance ready to flow into our experience. Are you ready for that? Yeah, well, I would hope so, but you got to be willing to have that awakening or that change. You know, it said of the Buddha, you probably heard this story because it's like his original one. But you know, when he got enlightened, he got up and started walking down the road. You know, he's just glowing. And a guy walks by and said, "Who are you? An avatar? A god?" He said, "Oh, no. Well, who are you? A magician? Are you a wizard?" You go, No. What are you? A saint? You go, No. Then what are you? I'm awake. Right? That's what we're talking about here today. Awakening to our limitlessness. See, it's your moment of choice. You get to decide whether you're going to awaken to that which is greater than your judgments or your preconceived notions of how it is. It comes down to your moment of choice. You know, we've got this young girl floating up here, riding her bike. Someone said it should have been a masculine bike, a male bike, so we have the male-female energy, but I can't tell. Anyway, she gets to decide where she wants to land in this infinite perspective. That's what we have when we allow ourselves to be illumined. And as the illumination comes and the light comes, the darkness is dispelled. There's not a battle. It just cannot comprehend. And the light is there. And all of a sudden, we're awake from what our previous perceptions were. I got this great video. You may have seen it on the internet. But that's where I grabbed it. So I don't think YouTube will pull it. Check this out. So all these balls, they're moving in a circle, right? Or they aren't moving in a circle. What do you think? Don't have to answer me. Just let's check this out. No. Really? Show me. I don't think so. Is that crazy? Don't want to get stuck. You know, Seaside is here to say, okay, this is what I'm perceiving and this is where I am at. But if I wake up, those balls aren't going in a circle, they're going in a straight line. You know, Washington Irving, American short story writer, you know, wrote Rip Van Winkle, Legend, Sleepy Hollow. He said, little minds are tamed and subdued by misfortune, and great minds rise above it. Great minds rise above the challenge, the misfortune, the whatever it is you're going on. Sometimes when things seem to be going wrong, possibly they're going right, but you just don't understand it yet. Got that? They may be going this way, and but it's actually, if it's, you know, for the highest and best and spirits in charge, they might just possibly be going right, and I don't understand it in this moment. You know, if you were the same water that boils a potato and makes it soft, hardens an egg. See, the difference isn't it the outside or the circumstances. The difference is what's inside. That's right. And so the most common way people lose their power is that they believe that they don't have power. Think about that. The most common way in which people lose the power is that they don't believe that they have the power, which is why if you can keep somebody in fear, you can keep them disempowered. I'm into fear. I'm into anxiety. I'm into worry as opposed to being in my power. But I love what Neil Gaiman said. He wrote American Gods. He said, fairy tales are more than true, not because they say that dragons exist, but because they say that we can beat them. We can beat those misfortunes. We can beat the limitations. We can beat the headlines. We can beat the medical verdicts. That's what Seaside continues to stand, is on this spiritual truth that we need to come into a sense of oneness and wholeness with the totality of that infinite presence. That's something that is beyond what it is I know in my mind right now. If somebody's telling you you can't go any further, you can't go very far, I'm telling you, you keep going until you get far enough away so you can't hear them anymore. You know, it is up to us to take the charge in our life, to take the responsibility. There's a kid in school, I heard this story, a friend shared it, that this kid in college, he was popular. You know, he had the charisma, people liked being around him, hanging out. Now, he wasn't the best looking, a little scrawny, was not athletic. And part of the reason was when he had childhood polio. And but yet there was still something amazing about him. And my friend asked him and said that it's amazing that you are so lively and so charismatic around people. And when you had this disease when you were a kid, and he said, but it didn't get inside. You know, I didn't have polio in my heart. You know, my heart was good. You know, he didn't have a disease of the heart. You know, the biggest heart disease we got going on in America right now is not the ones that get reported. It's apathy. It's those that don't care. It's those who are afraid to step out, to change their perspective, to open up to, you know what, I am limitless. You know, I've got to awaken to this in the midst of my stuck position. We've got to step across the line. As Cassie B was singing, the best is yet unwritten. Not all has been spoken yet. You know, you've got to do it because it's in your heart. You got that? It's inside. You know what comes out your mouth tends to be what's in our life. Ernest Holmes talks about that you change the thinking, you change your life. But if you got the thoughts, they tend to show up in your life. What's going on in your life is a reflection. What comes out your mouth shows up as your life. Carl Jung, he said that for your vision to become clear, you've got to listen to your own heart. Right? No heart disease. For your vision to become clearer, you've got to listen to your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, and who looks inside awakens. Ooh, is right. That is a good one. I like that. Yeah. You know what? We got a wonderful kid who grew up around Seaside, sitting here. Happens to be Reverend Debbie McDonnell's son. And so I said, I got to share this story. And he gave us a 90-second testimony. And I let him run it. It's fun. Or I find it fun.
Hi, my name is Sean McDonnell. I was asked to share a little bit about manifesting today and how I've applied it in my life to achieve goals that I've had since I was little. So when I was younger, the thing that I wanted to be most when I grew up was a basketball player, a professional athlete. So when I decided that's what I wanted to do, I started to think about it over and over again and just have it in my mind's eye, whether it was making the varsity team in high school or getting a college scholarship or one day playing in the NBA or professional. And so when I started to center my life around that, the universe in turn started to shape itself and the people in my life in the way I needed to achieve those goals. And I think that's the biggest way that I've seen manifesting apply itself to affect my life, is that when I started focusing on it and thinking about it and acting on it is when the universe reciprocated and started to mold me in a way to where I needed to be to achieve the goals and manifest the things that I wanted to. And so here I am today in Spain playing in one of the top leagues in the world. And maybe it wasn't the exact dream I had, to play for the Lakers or play in the NBA, but it's where I need to be at this moment. And I think that I was able to manifest the perfect life for me at this moment in time. So that's really how I've seen manifesting apply itself in my life. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a great day.
Woo! Proud mama standing right there. This kid was about so big. Now he's 6'9", full scholarship to the top university in California, led his basketball team to the national championship, playing in the top league, the European League in Spain, leading the scoring, and his team won again this morning. Maybe that dream of the NBA is that next step. You've got to embrace what's before you and live full out and allow your perceptions to shift if you want to awaken to the limitlessness of your expression, because abundance is the natural state. You weren't put in this world to struggle, to have a difficult time. You were here to have your financial house in order so you can make it happen. So don't let little dreams get in the way, because you were meant for so much more. You got that? Touch your heart and say, I am meant for so much more. Again, I am meant for so much more. I am meant for so much more. Yes, and when you know that, you begin to put yourself in that position, because what is within your heart, your life, Goethe, a Christian mystic, said, your life reflects what is in your heart. Your world reflects in your heart. He put himself in 100% because that was his love. That was his jam. That's what, he was here to do. When you put yourself, spirit, soul, and body, emotions, beliefs into something, heaven and earth will line up to support that for you, because we are dealing in an energetic field, and we begin to shift the frequency, because it's all atomic, and we're told by the physicists that it is all space in that atomic field, and the influencer influences the experiments, the outcome. We know the biology changes. It can change. The DNA can change. The biologists of Bruce Lipton, we've talked about that, talk about how the DNA can change. We are in charge of our abundance in our life. We are not stuck in a particular area, because the beauty about money is that it is energy. You got that? Money is energy. The way they can transfer numbers from one bank to another across the planet, it's got to be some kind of magic. I mean, and it's created so we can have energetic exchange with greater ease, with greater efficiency, with a greater swiftness. See, money is love. It is the presence of love when you begin to look at it that way, not struggle for it. You know how many people, sell out on their days and their hours in life so they can make a living, and they put their family on hold because, they're doing the work that's not their joy. I want to share with you from the chapter that we're working on this week, this third chapter on the social economy. And Sue McCrum, she talks a great deal about the energy of money. And she shared this that I wanted to share with you. Is that when we come to understand that the powerful energy behind our financial system is intended to be supportive, generous, unlimited, and available to all. And loving that we can relax in its presence. Delighted in sharing our gifts of creativity and freely accepting its financial and other rewards. It then becomes impossible to continue to make decisions that cause harm to our own or other species, or to make the place where we live so dirty that we no longer thrive here. Understanding this will allow us to create businesses that truly serve in the spirit of generosity and love. It enables us to be rewarded well for doing significant work and growing our impact. It causes us to value the contributions that so many people are able to make. And perhaps most significantly, it enables us to get in touch with our own deepest wishes and learn how they can be fulfilled. Simply because that is what money's exquisite, beautiful energy does. It serves us constantly in a cycle of asking and receiving. It arranges synchronistically and synergy that makes life feel like a magical adventure. It answers our call for beautiful solutions to challenging and disturbing problems. Everything is possible for the energy that lies behind our financial economic system, and that same energy that fulfills all of our wishes. All it asks is that we truly, deeply understand that it is an energy of love. That's a different way than most of us were brought up with. You know, it's not to create pain, it's the presence of love. But we forget about that. We get caught up in our story, our struggle, our perception. You're abundant. And you need to awaken to your unlimitedness. And awakening is like seeing those balls weren't going in a circle. It's like once you saw they went in a line, it's like, whoa, that's the experience of awakening. And when you get that, you realize, wow, I've been missing a good all along that's there. You know, there was a mom and daughter that got into a fight, a quarrel, and Sue, the daughter, got so upset, she walked out of the house, slammed the door, and took off. She walked, for blocks and blocks, cold night. After, walking for some time, she was getting hungry, and she realized she had no money. She had no phone. She had no car keys. It's like, she finds herself standing in front of a noodle shop, just, heartbroken for the quarrel with mom, kind of tears welling up. And the lady who runs the noodle shop looks out, and she sees this young girl, almost in tears, sticks her head out and says, "Hey, sweetie, why don't you come on inside and have a bowl of noodles?" And she says, I don't have any money. She says, "Oh, my treat, come on in." And so that owner, she goes and gets a bowl of noodles and brings it and sets it down at the table. And Sue just starts crying. And the owner says, "What's going on?" She says, "Nobody has ever been this kind to me before. I just got in a fight with my mom. She's so cruel. She kicked me out of the house." And the owner said, "Oh, wait a second. You're calling me kind because I just gave you noodles?" He said, "I feel indebted to you. Nobody's been this kind to me before." And she said, "I'm a stranger, and you feel indebted to me because I have given you a bowl of noodles? And your mom has spent your whole life raising you and assisting you to step out into the world? Was the quarrel you had that bad?" And in that moment, the awakening, the light went on. She got it. That all this time, she had not felt that indebtedness or appreciation to mom. She said that, "I feel indebted to a stranger who gave me a bowl of noodles, and my mom who has given me her life, I have taken for granted." And with that, she got up and went home. And as she was approaching the house, she saw her mom sitting on the steps of the front porch, just distraught and happy to see her daughter come up. Her daughter's trying to think, what am I going to say to mom? I'm sorry, please forgive me, kind of the Ho'oponopono exercise. No, that was last week. But, she's trying to figure out, and she gets to her mom, and she just looks at her, and her mom says very softly, I made some rice. Why don't you come in and have a bowl of rice now while it's still warm? And with that, they went in, and Sue just started crying and put her arms around her mom and just got it. I share that story because Spirit has always been there in our life. And sometimes we forget to recognize it and acknowledge it. That it has been there in our low times and our high times. It's been, in our darkness and in our joys. And Seaside does its best. We stand on holy ground. We have consecrated this campus to be forever, to do the spiritual works and to remind us of the truth and the limitlessness of our ability. And in this coming year, we're looking at being able to deliver our message on this through live streaming like we haven't done before. There's equipment we need to get. We may get it, we may not. We don't know until all the family comes together and say, hey, you can count me in. This is my intention. This is, my estimated sense of giving. But once a year, like any good family that plans a budget for the upcoming year, says, hey, what can we expect to come in? And this is when we say, hey guys, let us know. It's not as if you've got to do that forever, but it helps us put together something that is based on something that is solid and real. And as you give, it comes back. And it may not come back in that moment. As Debbie shared, she gave a year's salary to take this course on the spirituality of abundance in her life. And it didn't necessarily come back right away, but she didn't neglect to tell you that she was able to sell a house for a lot more than she bought it for, and bought a house here in the North County. So had other aspects show up, as well as things. We give what is reflected in our life as spirit. And Spirit is omnipresent, and it shows up in all aspects of our world with a sense of peace, a sense of security, a sense of health, a sense of well-being. We're prayed up in advance. We're praying without ceasing. When I systematically remember to put Spirit first, because the money is energy. It carries a lot of juju to it. Have you ever noticed how money can get people excited talking about it? I think I shared, it's easier for people to talk about sex than it is their money and their salary. Why is that? It is because we have these belief systems that have been put onto us. If you can realize that money is love, it is a currency, it is a flow, and I'm going to support Spirit's work in my life. And I can assure you that your contribution is significant, particularly at this time. It's always significant. And at the level in which you can, I always encourage people to try to take a step up, 1%. A regular systematic. This is what I'm intending to be in partnership with God. I assure you, every one of those cards we get, I pray on through the course of the year. I have got them, and I keep that, and I look at them throughout that course of the year, and I'm praying, because I assure you, I want you to live up to, I want your world to work so well that you can do that in your life. You can be assured I'm there praying for you. And so once a year we say, hey guys, what are you thinking for this upcoming year? Let us know so we can continue to build this, not on God will provide, because God always does. And I just honor every board that had to deal with these budgets. How's it going to happen? But it always has, since 1988 and the first day these doors opened to today, that moved us through this pandemic. And so in a moment, I'm going to ask you to fill out your pledge card. And on the way out, we opened up the side doors, so not everybody has to pass each other if you don't want to do that. There's a jar in the back and the side doors. And we want to ask you to fill that out. And those of you that are at home, we sent you I sent you a wonderful newsletter that Valerie Carson just spent an amazing amount of time under the direction of Reverend Debbie. That has a lot of information, that has your pledge card in there. But also you at home, if you didn't get a letter, we have on site, that newsletter we sent out, but also a virtual card. We've never had a virtual community before. We know that there's 1,000 people who watch this every week, but I don't know who you are. By saying, you know what, I'm part of Seaside. And I know there's some in Europe that are watching us every week. There's others in Hawaii. What I know is this is an opportunity for you to say, hey, I'm part of this family, this tribe. I love my tribe, just like these two hats are saying here. I love my tribe. I got one. You've seen it. It's your way to say, count me in. I'm here to support Spirit's work showing up as Seaside. So what I want to do is I'm going to have Rebecca and Cassie B sing a song. I want you to open your heart. and just believe what a miracle Seaside is. And it is a story of the miracle in your life, because Seaside, you are its heart, its hands, its feet. It is where you go that Seaside goes. Someone's got to call the question. That's me right now. Say, hey, guys, do you want to practice tithing? That's 10%. Easy to keep track of, easier than 13.2. But, you just want to make a pact, a commitment spirit. I'm putting you first, and everything that comes in, I'm going to give this percentage back first. And what you'll find is the other 90% adds up to a lot more. It goes a lot further. It has for me, always has. And somebody's got to say that. And they say, well, the church, well, I'll tell you what. Some people have got to stand up and say your partnership is with that which is infinite, and that which brings the awareness of that infinite in your life is what needs to be supported. That love is being able to give where you want to. I invite you to listen to your heart. You're going to sing, and then I'll pray afterwards. And when I'm done praying, that is the time to fill out your pledge card. So it's not time to fill it out. We're looking for your heart to be moved. As Goethe says, your life reflects your heart. As Carl Jung said, that you want to get clear, you're the one who's got to listen to your heart. You can't look outside, you got to look within. So here's a song to help you look within and to know the miracle that Seaside is, that your life is, that we are together.
Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. Oh, there can be miracles when you believe. The hope is frail, it's hard to give. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. You will when you believe. Oh, in this time of fear, when prayer so often proves in vain, hope seems like the summer bird so swiftly flown away. And now I'm standing here, my heart's so full I can't explain, seeking faith and speaking words I never thought I'd say. There can be miracles when you believe. When you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Oh, who knows what miracles you can achieve. You can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. You will when you believe. Oh, they don't always happen when you ask, and it's easy to give in to your fear. But when you're blinded by your pain, can see your way through the rain, a small but still resilient voice says hope is very near. Miracles when you believe. When you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to kill. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when
That is Rebecca and Cassie B. reminding us, when you believe. So I just take this energy into prayer right now. I believe. I have the faith that can move mountains. Miracles are the natural unfoldment of a heart that is filled with love and light. And so in this moment, I awaken to the illumination of the limitlessness of that which I am, which is spirit expressing. Just as that drop is part of the ocean, each and every one of us is part of that infinite. You party down with God, expect awesome, limitless expressions to have its way. For I stand on this holy ground. This spiritual campus is consecrated to the presence of God. It has weathered storms, pandemics, recessions, real estate collapses. And we open our doors this day to welcome those who choose to believe. For I know right now that Seaside grows and expands and is available to those that feel comfortable to walk on in here on a Sunday. The place is safe. But if not, we know that our audience that watches live stream is as connected in the love and the caring, so those at home can feel this divine vibration and the expansion of the limitlessness, awakening to the abundance of being. Whether we are apart together or here now, there is no judgment. We are all in our perfect place, supporting God's work in this moment that is expressing itself as Seaside, a spiritual community where healing goes on. The practitioners who are available after service pray and speak the words of truth. The prayer requests put in our prayer chest are now answered and fulfilled. These beautiful flowers this day, given by Sharon Wozniak in honoring of her mom, Betty, who just made her transition and moves on to the other side, does so with an ease and a grace and an aliveness. This beautiful bouquet represents the beauty of her heart and her soul and spirit. For Tom Neufeld, who was in our prayers last week, he is right on the edge of stepping over to that other side. And so he is surrounded by the support and the love and all that is necessary to let go of what is here, to move on to that which is next. And for Amy, who's dealing with breast cancer, right where she is, there's a healing going on. There's a wholeness that is emerging. That shift is taking place, and Spirit moves through the divine collaboration with the different modalities that support her perfect healing. For Monty, perfect healing, wholeness for him. For Jan, her bone cancer loses its grip and the comfort and returns back to her physical body, that she is that vibrant expression of spirit once again. And for Rivers, the mobility within the dexterity of his being, the comfort within his body. For Seaside stands as a place of healing. It is a center where there's actually manifestations taking place in the physical form in people's lives, as well as the floodgates of abundance flowing and moving. Our hearts that are expanding and opening up to the spiritual divinity of our being. We are inspired to live our divinity and support Spirit's work in our life, in the places in which we see. And so in this moment, when I am being asked, each of us are being asked to step up and support God's work in this coming year of 2002 or 2001. What is it that Spirit can depend on? What are you willing to say yes as the starting point of ever expanding good? How are you willing to be an abundant expression of the activity of God? It's between you and Spirit. Spirit is infinite, is limitless. It will match and produce in this profusion of love and light. So think within your heart and your soul and your spirit. For in a moment, you'll be asked to fill out the cards. And when you leave the building, place them by the door and let your gift be the profound expression of abundance that people enter into this community. And you can share in this basket your offering for the day, since I forgot to ask. What matters right now is what you're feeling in your heart in support of God's work as Seaside in your life. How has Seaside made a difference in your life? How am I willing to stretch from 2020 to 2021? Cannot outgive God. Are you ready to know that God meant me more for me? God means more for me. I'm letting go of the little dreams because God means more for our life. And so I'm willing to take that step just as Reverend Debbie did. She stepped out. And life supported her in ways that were amazing. Life is looking to support you in amazing ways. Just as opening up this facility here today is an amazing testimony to belief, to faith, to courage, to intelligent planning. And Seaside will continue to keep the heartbeat of this community going and the light shining, healing happening. We will empower our children to step into this world self-confident because our youth programs will be supported by our gifts. Our facility will continue to be aesthetically beautiful for all who enter in can feel the presence of God when they enter this campus. You know, the deferred maintenance is taken care of. Our ability to touch beyond our campus and our walls, we are able to expand this year into 2021 because more and more people are finding us. Our podcasts that John Beathan puts out are in more than 100 countries every month through iHeartRadio and a new radio system that just went up this week. Seaside is making a difference, and your gift makes that possible, touching more lives than you will ever know. So I say thank you for using me, God. Thank you for this moment to put down on this piece of paper what my heart feels, and what will manifest in my life will be a reflection. My life reflects the heart. This is what Goethe said. Your heart becomes clearer, as Jung said, when you listen to that instead of the outside. So when you're ready, open your eyes and fill out this card. Yeah, a little music somewhere.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, 'cause my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Said no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I I'm only here for God. Say, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Say, no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah, Seaside.
Hey, I'll tell you what, we said sign up for this Sunday or next Sunday, but if there's open spots come the weekend, you can have them. So don't hesitate. If you want to come back next Sunday, we're going to do a different message. And Rebecca, you got to get another great song, like Only Believe. There's got to be another one out there about faith or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, get you working on that one. So
Got
come the weekend, if there's spaces available for come to service, first come, first serve, first 99. Until then, know I love you. Thank you for your support. I'd have you do the affirmation, but we don't do that anymore until we can get rid of our masks.